Heads, and welcome to The League, exploring the League of Legends lore from A to Z. My name is Rebecca.
And I'm John.
And I'm Mark.
And today we get to talk about the Terror of the Void, Cho'Gath, who was released June 26th, 2009. He's an old boy.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, he is in the original League of Legends Clash of Fates trailer.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's wild. Did you rewatch it for this? I didn't.
I did.
There's not really much to watch. It's just, you get like a Nunu close-up, and then it's like all of them standing there.
Annie close-up.
Annie, yeah. Fuck. God, I had forgotten about the Clash of Fates subtitle until you mentioned it. Like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm real glad they got rid of that. It's
Yeah,
a very
you know.
long title.
Yeah, so on the Riot Universe page, Cho'Gath has a bio.
It's one of these ones.
Yeah, this is gonna be a real short one, folks.
Really short one.
He has a bio, has no short stories. I checked on the wiki to make sure maybe he's got some old lore short stories. He's got no short stories associated with him on there. Basically, what we've got is a short bio and some skin flavor text. And that's what we're talking.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Alistar all over again, unfortunately.
You know, I disagree because
Oh,
Alistar.
okay.
I disagree because Alistar, although he did only have a bio, don't get me wrong, Alistar had something, right? You could at least write something about Alistar. This is a short ass bio, and half of it's not even about Cho'Gath, really. It's just about like the void.
So who wants to give a summary of the bio?
Not it.
I think it's so short you could probably just read it straight and it'd be fine. I mean, I can do it. The first half,
Okay.
like I said, is just kind of describing the void. I know we've talked about it a number of times. Probably anyone listening is familiar with it, but
Yeah.
it's an antimatter, not antimatter, but it's like a, I don't know, how would y'all describe it? It's just like a evil dimension of
I
nothingness.
guess I thought of it almost as like the Upside Down from Stranger
Ooh,
Things
yeah,
a
that's
little
great.
bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think they kind of described it as like the screaming emptiness.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not like nothing. It's like the inverse of reality. That's why I was saying like antimatter type. It's not that it's just nothing there. It's that it's, I don't know.
Has Riot always been really vague about what the Void is as well? Because I would say like, hey, this could be the episode where we talk about the Void then, but this doesn't seem to be much info on it.
Yeah, like they have small blurbs about the void, but definitely there has not been as much world building as the other regions.
Yeah.
My guess is because the voids are kind of one of the real big bads, and if they do a void event, you know, it's probably going to have to come with some sort of closure or story progression that maybe they're not ready for. My guess is that there is going to be a big void event at some point, or at the very least a void expansion in Legends of Runeterra, because they're also using the Runeterra expansions as opportunities to write new lore. But until we get one of those two things, I would not expect any of the, you know, old void lore to get updated or improved.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was curious about that because I did have that same idea of, oh, you know, there's not a lot here. Maybe we can talk about the void. And in looking at some of the other void champions, they also have very short lore.
Oh, great.
It might be the region that's so far been the furthest away from like the lore rewrites. Like I know it's gotten some updates to kind of bring it to a quality level, but it definitely seems like they're kind of like you said, John. They're leaving it and just kicking that can down the road until they finally have to do something with it.
It seems almost like a really old idea for them. Like early on, they were like, all right, well, we need a place where evil people come from, the Void, and they didn't really think about it. Is that maybe what happened?
Probably. That's, yeah.
Yeah, and not even just like evil. They needed some sort of like existential threat, and that was
okay.
kind of the initial existential threat to the realm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
because
that's
it's the least fleshed out for sure.
Yeah. It's,
Well,
I guess-
there's very little flesh on those things. They have chitin.
hey, And I guess I'll say that's kind of the bio. I mean, what we get about Cho is that he is a creature from the void, and he is really scary, and he's very intelligent. And that's really it. I mean, you guys can stop me if I've missed anything, but it's very... It's 234 words, guys. It's not a lot.
Oh my god. I'm going to straight up admit I didn't read it.
Well,
but it sounded like I didn't have to.
Now, not only did I read it, I also read his original lore.
Ooh.
So, for those of you out there who want to get some super secret info that's not in his real lore anymore, there's a bit that's cut out. Unfortunately, it is 99% exactly the same lore that he currently has. They literally just cut a bit off the end of his bio and then re-released it, and that's his current lore. But his old lore used to have a line or a few lines at the end that said, "Fortunately, the power of the League's summoning has confined Cho'Gath's presence exclusively to the League of Legends. It is here that summoners use Cho'Gath's void-born abilities to help decide the fate of Runeterra. The Terror of the Void knows what fate it would choose for Runeterra, given half the chance."
Wow.
Yeah.
So, yep, with the summoner retcon, those lines are out.
Yeah, it really highlights how OP summoners were, I guess. That even Cho'Gath is just like, we wrangled them. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I got that with Brand too when they were talking in the Brand when he comes across a summoner and the summoner's just like, you come with me now. Like, oh fuck.
Like
I
a
just
Pokeball.
burnt half the world, but all right, I guess.
Like a Pokeball.
Gotta catch them all, man. Okay, so speaking about how short this lore is, you know how in League they will use Teemos as like the smallest unit of measure of distance? Like, this 1,000 range ability is 6 Teemos or whatever. So I propose that going forward we use Cho'Gaths as the measure of lore. I looked through all of the bios that we went through so far, and I did a little math. What do y'all think is the shortest champion bio, and how many Cho'Gaths, like roughly?
Oh shit.
I'll say shortest too.
And it is approximately 1 Cho'Gath long.
Yeah. Ignoring our baseline of 1 Cho'Gath.
God, I'm really inclined to say it's Alistar, but it almost feels like a trap. But I'm going to say Alistar at 5.5 Cho'Gaths.
I'm going to say it's Anivia at 3 Cho'Gaths.
Okay, so I guess I'll say, for anyone wondering, every champion we've hit so far is at least 2+ Cho'Gaths. So that's why I was like, Alistar doesn't even count, because he's not even like under 2 Cho'Gaths. He's at least 2. He's actually 3. He clocks in over 3. The shortest one was Brand at 2.23 Cho'Gaths, followed by Bard at 2.44.
Brand.
Damn, man, we got misled because of how long his flavor story was.
Yeah.
Baited and outsmarted. Shit.
Yeah. I think y'all can guess what the longest one was, but do you want to guess how many Cho'Gaths, spoiler, Azir is?
Oh, boy.
Okay.
Yeah, remember that shit was long. Listeners at home, you can play this game too.
I'm gonna
go with
23.
5 Cho'Gaths.
Okay, that's
Give
an
me
interesting
a real
mix.
answer.
The real answer, at 2,029 words, 8.67 Cho'Gaths is how
Oh
that
my
came
God.
out.
You were way closer than I was.
I should have guessed. I was like, it's maybe around like 1,200 words. That's what I was thinking.
I got too hyped. I'm not good at identifying word count by reading.
Well,
That's something authors are apparently good at.
But yeah, so just some Cho'Gath stats for and I guess I will say, like I said, I looked at some of the other Void champions, and when we start hitting them, when we get to the Ks, which we'll be in for like 3 or 5 months.
13 weeks.
13 weeks.
13
did you figure?
There are 13K champions, more than
This is the stats
any other
episode.
letter. This is the stats episode.
Hell, we'll get, 4 Void champions in the Ks?
Man, well, I know a couple of them.
Kha'Zix, Kog'Maw, Kaisa, and Kassadin.
Wow. God damn.
Damn, you got that real quick, huh?
That'll be Void month then.
Oh, yay. Void months.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
luckily
Not long.
for all of you, while we might not have a whole lot of actual lore to go over, I do have some AUs to talk about.
But not even that many.
Not a whole lot, but a few. So, Cho'Gath is part of the High Society AU. And as I'm sure you can imagine, this is with his gentleman Cho'Gath skin. Prior to indulging in the delectable taste of his victims, Cho'Gath prefers to invite them to his humble 40-acre mansion. There he offers scones and jam with a spot of tea, so his guests may savor their last meal before becoming one themselves.
Oh, he's like Hannibal.
Up we go. Now, he's also part of the Battlecast skin line. It's interesting. On the wiki, they have a bunch of quotes from Pulsefire Ezreal that kind of relate to the thing. And I thought at first that these were actual quotes, but you can't listen to them, and they weren't on the Pulsefire Ezreal thing. So I feel like that's just a flavor thing that they add in every now and then.
Interesting.
But this one said, "Hey, Murderbot timeline. Been a while. How are the Murderbots?" But the Battlecast skin line, the flavor text for this one is, "The glorious revolution is here. Assembling an army of machines with living brains, Victor marches against the combined forces of his enemies with only a scrappy human-led resistance keeping him from total world domination." Whoa. And Cho'Gath in this one is the gold standard of Battlecast shock troopers. He implements self-replicating nanites that reinforce its frame as it consumes living tissue. It has become a common and terrifying sight in occupied cities where it feeds on civilians who won't submit to conversion.
Ooh, shit. Kind of like
shit.
Like Terminator vibes almost a little bit.
Right. It reminded me a lot of like Horizon Zero Dawn.
Or that too, yeah. Now, do you remember when this came out, they had a little audio teaser for it, a little audio preview? Did you go and listen to that? Because I remembered it when re-listened to it. Does that sound familiar
for
at all?
the Battlecast line?
Yeah, for the Battlecast show specifically.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's like a 30-second clip, and it's done in the vein of, I assume, a couple of resistance fighters who are sending out like a desperate message about, looking in his blueprints, and it's kind of cool. I would recommend somebody go, if you're interested, go look it up on YouTube. It's like Battlecast Cho'Gath preview, and the only video I found was one that had like German subtitles on it, and it's not an official Riot thing at all. Somebody just managed to hang on to it, but it's cool.
Nice. I do love that, where you find like cinematics that were released on like other channels.
Yeah.
Sometimes like I actually found some on this one because I was looking up Void information, and I found like the Void theme song. But I could not find the Void theme song on anywhere but the, I think it was like Riot Malaysia that had released it.
I thought it was the Russian one, but maybe you're right. Yeah, where they've got like a whole playlist of like region themes, which I thought was interesting.
But I couldn't find it outside of there. Also, I wasn't a huge fan.
Yeah.
It's very industrial.
I think some of them are or when I was looking through some of those other videos for other regions, a lot of them are just reused champion themes or other songs, and so lots of times it's just, oh, here's something that was a Piltover champion or whatever. I don't know.
Makes sense. So he is also part of the prehistoric skin line, and for the record, yes, this is different than the Jurassic skin line, which has no lore associated with it, and he is just a skeleton. This is basically a Monster Hunter skin line, from what I could tell. It's got a bunch of beasts and then beast hunters. Like Draven, and I think like Riven and Tryndamere were the beast hunters, and he is a titanic beast feared for its massive size and endless appetite. No sane hunter would ever think of taking on Cho'Gath. Seeing as there are no sane hunters, Cho'Gath enjoys a steady supply of lightly armored food. And the last one he is a part of is the Shanghai Scrolls.
The new one.
It is the new one. Set in a world where champions are mythological creatures within the mysterious Shanghai Scrolls. A mythical titanic beast painted within the mysterious Shanghai Scrolls, whose gluttony resulted in eternal karmic punishment. Cho'Gath has seized upon the scroll's connection to the multiverse and plans to devour both his own world and then all others. Also, just unrelated, this particular Cho'Gath skin is part of one of my favorite TFT builds of the moment.
So desperate we are for content
really
in this
stretching.
episode.
Vanguard Mystic Fable.
John's going to talk about his TFT build right now.
Although, you know, one thing that I, until reading this, I'd completely forgotten about that also didn't show up anywhere that I was looking for Cho'Gath content. Cho'Gath consumes the world.
Oh, yeah. That
Yeah.
shit was fun.
There was it was for one of the arcade events that they did. It was a little arcade game that was essentially like a Rampage, right?
Yeah.
But with Cho'Gath, and yeah, it had fun little music to go along with it. Fun fact, actually, about that theme in particular is there was a theme written for that game, and I don't think they ever ended up releasing that theme. But internally, when I was doing the whistling for Forecast Jana, that is the song that I'm whistling, is the unreleased Cho'Gath Consumes the World's music.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So that's a fun thing John did. If you have Forecast Jana, is it her dance?
It is her dance,
Her
yeah.
dance, she whistles during the dance, and that is John whistling in that skin. I think they asked you to do something Singing in the Rain-esque, but they could not get the rights to Singing in the
Yeah,
Rain.
so I had to come back
obviously.
in and re-record. So they gave me that song as reference instead, which was kind of like a...
Beautiful. honey.
Yeah,
Good job.
nicely done.
That was that was originally for Cho'Gath.
I don't remember that song. I don't really remember that event super much, though. I wasn't as invested in League at the time.
That's a
Yeah,
neat
so
fact,
overall,
then.
this is kind of disappointing. I'd love a big Cho'Gath event, to be honest, because as of right now, it's just he big scary monster who's very smart, and that's it. Or it'd be really cool to have some kind of gigantic Cho'Gath event in which he causes some kind of destruction or, something.
Yeah, and I kind of wish that outside of his Gentleman Cho'Gath skin, like they make it a point to mention how smart he is. Like I would love for that to be in any way reflected in like his kit or their quotes or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard because Cho is hard because he kind of lacks purpose, and he, compared to like Kog'Maw, Vel'Koz, Kha'Zix, all of them I think have a much more clear thrust of what they're doing. Like I could write you a Kog'Maw story, and Vel'Koz I think has an actual developed personality, and Kha'Zix, same way, right? But with Cho, he runs into a weird spot where a lot of the fantasy he fulfills is that he's just a big fuck off monster, but that doesn't vibe very well with him being like this really evil intelligence as well, right?
Yeah.
Yes. I think if they were going to do an event, I think they should either retcon the idea that he's intelligent and just make him like kind of a mindless, terrifying monster. Or maybe he's something that has been hiding his intelligence in some way, so he's underestimated a bit. Kind of like how Cho'Gath is in game. He's so tiny at first, you don't think he's scary at all. And then all of a sudden he's chomping down lane.
He's got 15 feast stacks.
And you're like,
what the
holy
fuck?
shit, he's taking up half the lane.
Yeah, I mean, I would love. I think I would totally agree that I'd love to have an event just for him, because it would really re-emphasize how big and scary he actually is, rather than it being it's a void thing. It's like, oh no, it's just Cho'Gath, right? He's that big of a fucking deal,
Yeah.
I think he also suffers a bit from having such an overlapping theme to Kog'Maw, where like they're both very like, I like to eat everything.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I think that's a problem that the Void faces in general when it comes to developing it as a region, is that every other place has a culture, has a society. It has a lot of trappings to help give things from it different things to do, And with the void, they're all kind of unified just by that insatiable hunger and that need to just to consume and destroy. And it makes it hard to kind of separate them. And I think they do an okay enough job with, Vel'Koz consumes, but he does it with a very clear purpose. And Kha'Zix, I think, I've not read his lore. I know it's very short, but at the very least, it's driven by a more clear thrust. But with Cho, it's, he eats things and he gets big, right? Like what? How do you develop that more?
By eating more things.
I thought the idea of trying to take the Malzahar idea of like there being void cultists and trying to play that out more. So like imagine you've got whole towns that are devoted to Cho'Gath, right? And they're centered around like hidden void portals. Think like Shadow over Innsmouth, right? But with the void or something like that.
I like that, and you can play into his supposed intelligence with that. That maybe he's responsible. He intentionally has these cults kind of created, worshiping him.
That might be pretty cool. I also like the idea of people mounting expeditions into the void, right? Think like Half-Life, right? Where you're like whether it's for scientific value or I'm sure there's valuable alien shit in the void. People from Zon, Piltover, Noxus, those seem like great regions to have people like, okay, we're going to go into the void and we're going to go in for a couple days and get our shit and get out, right?
Yeah. I think it's unrealistic to expect that the void is known about and people aren't trying to explore it. I mean, if we want to draw another comparison to Stranger Things, the Upside Down, people understand how dangerous it is, but they're still trying to fucking open the door because people are dumb.
Yeah. There are a handful in the... There are a handful of known doors right now that are specified by Riot. I just don't think that any of them are easily accessible. So there's the one door that's being watched over by the Frost Guard right now that nobody gets into. There are a few, I think, that are mentioned that are underwater that Nami has to deal with. There's the one in, Ikathia, and no one's getting in there. So I think like even if people are aware, they're probably in such inaccessible places that you can't kind of hop in and out. Yeah.
Well, I think that goes back to the issue of anything that comes out of the void is just so destructive that how do you even set up like a research like forward operating base on this side of the void portal, right? It's like there's a constant stream of voidlings that you just have to deal with. So finding some way around that would be a big challenge, but if you could find a way to make it sense, then you could start having... It gives a way for Rune Terrans to interact with the void beyond just... a void portal popped up, now, shit's gone fucking haywire, right?
Go get it, Aurelian Soul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh well, poor Cho'Gath.
Any other Cho'Gath thoughts?
Why does he... So, okay, I know all the void champions... Like all of them have apostrophes in their name, and I know that's that's something they do to kind of help them be unique. But am I wrong, or are they not used correctly? Because I thought that you would have an apostrophe if there's two identical sounds. Like if it was Cho'Gath, you would have the apostrophe to help indicate that they're a separate sound. Is that right, or am I just talking out my ass?
I have no idea, actually.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what the rules for because you're, what is it, like, it's apostrophizing like glottal stops, right? I don't know what the rules for those are.
No clue.
Fucking got me. I'm not even sure I know what a glottal stop is, to be fair.
Nope, me neither. I've never heard that word in my life.
It's fun to say. Glottal stop.
It's a delightful word.
Oh,
Thank you for bringing it to my attention.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the rules are. I assume they exist somewhere, but my assumption is they're also probably flexible based on region, because I know that there are a bunch of even regions in our world that use apostrophes for various purposes. I know we use them very differently than other languages, and I don't know if there's a consistent cause. So maybe there's one that uses them like they're using them, and we just don't know it.
I'm sure that's it. I'm sure Riot did their due
diligence. Maybe the reason's to be cool.
Well, did they? It's an old one.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that was
They
something
made a whole
else.
region that's just like, it's dark and scary.
Oh, well, I was
Yeah.
gonna say, Kaisa's not an old one, and she's got
That's true.
she's
She's
got
a-
the apostrophe too.
Well, I mean, at this point, it's just a style thing, right? It's like I said, this is a Void champion. They got the apostrophe. Look, but almost all the Void champions are pretty old. I mean, Kaisa is coming on her 3-year. She was released in
Oh my
March of
God.
2018,
What?
and before her, I think Vel'Koz and maybe Kha'Zix are the newest in 2014.
I think so. Yeah,
So-
and Kha'Zix is hella old at this point.
Yeah.
Huh.
Oh well.
I think that's Cho'Gath, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's Cho'Gath, I think.
Not much to talk about here, but that's okay. I think we kind of knew going in that there's going to be some episodes longer than others because there's just more information.
Yeah, and this is one that when we get the inevitable huge Void rework, we'll probably revisit. But you know,
Yeah.
I don't have high hopes that that'll even be before we get through the alphabet. So
Take your bets.
No.
I think we're going to be waiting approximately 87 and a half Cho'Gaths in order to.
We measure time and distance in Cho'Gaths here. I just want another
the new
Void
light year.
champion. That's what I hope is we get another Void
Me
champ
too.
before we get
Yeah.
done with the alphabet.
That'd be great.
And one that's not like Kaisa, one that's not just a person. Like one
not
that's an
just a
actual
British
fucking,
lady from
Yeah.
the Void.
An actual void creature. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be cool. A British lady. That's Kaisa's lore. I'm a British lady.
Trying to think.
Trying
Do
to
you think it'll be another K?
probably.
Probably. At this point, it'd be weird if it wasn't.
All right, let's all come up with the next champion's void name.
Ooh, that's what we should do. You know how you come up with like your stripper name, and it's like, oh, your dog's last.
Ooh.
What's your Void name? But we got to figure out the process for making it
I'm gonna go with Kilgore.
with an apostrophe between kill and door.
K-I-L apostrophe G-O-R.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Kilgore.
Okay, I'm going to say, all right, rules for this. You take the last from
Oh, okay.
from the last vowel of your first name.
Ooh, that's good.
You add a cho in front of it. Or maybe a ka.
Just a K.
A ka would be a better noise. Yeah, just a K.
Then I'd be Ka.
And then apostrophe. And then you same thing. Last vowel of your
I say the
last
last
name.
The last 3 letters. 3 to
Okay.
4 letters of your last
Ooh,
name.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
like
Last
that.
3 letters, as long as the first one's a vowel.
Mine would be
and it would start with a Z.
It doesn't have to be
your
start with a
last name.
vowel. Kaisa, Cho'Gath.
I know,
Why
but
would it
it's got to
with
start with the Z. Is the thing you're putting it after a Z?
Why?
All right, I'm confused.
I'm going
You've
with
lost me.
Kavroy. That's mine.
That's
why
pretty good.
Why does there have to be a Z?
They like Z's, right?
Because they love their fucking Z's. It's got to begin and end with a void-friendly letter, hard
But
consonant.
Kaisa doesn't have a Z.
It does have a K.
Cho'Gath doesn't have a Z.
They're hard consonants.
Kog'Maw. Maw.
All right, well, ma's not a hard consonant, but if you're just gonna prove me wrong,
Well, come up with better fucking rules.
I did.
We'll
You
workshop
start
it. We'll
with a
workshop
Z.
it.
No, there's no reason to start with a Z. I don't think there's a reason to start with a K either. I'm gonna go with the first letter of your first name and the first vowel in your first name, and then the last 3 letters of your last name.
Oh, no,
No, I don't like that because that would
My-
be Reroy for me. Actually,
we'll
you know
work on
what?
it.
I love it. That's my name.
Jodets.
Joe Detz.
So wait, hold on. What are the rules? What are the official rules?
Okay, so Mark, yours would be
Is it like
M-A,
tart?
so you'd be Ma.
No, now we're just getting into Cogma
So
territory.
you'd be Martin.
Martin. I don't
My
like
name
it.
would have been Kazetz, which is a much cooler name.
All right, you can go with Kazex.
Yeah, I like.
I'm going with Reroy.
Is he in there somewhere? We'll figure it out. and then I'll
Resroy?
get it tattooed on myself somewhere.
Okay. I mean, I like Motten.
A nice cut
I'm
of
calling
mutton.
it 2. Next Void Champion is just going to start with 2 Z's.
It's just
Is it just gonna be
you can rub it in my
Zizirot or
face.
whatever?
It's going to be whatever ZZ Rod is based on in the Void. ZZ Bot. ZZ Top.
All right, I think we fiddled around enough. We haven't talked about Cho'Gath in like 15 minutes because there's nothing to say.
Yeah, we can just cut whatever. Probably 90% of this.
Yeah. Well, thank you for listening to our really in-depth discussion about Cho'Gath. Let us know how you would improve him, because I'm bummed. Give me your Cho'Gath headcanons.
Yeah.
Because I love Cho'Gath, and I'd like more information about him.
Yeah. Now accepting all lore in the comments.
And join us next week, because it's a little bit more exciting. We'll be discussing our first Yordle. We were going to be talking about the Daring Bombardier, Corky.